it's so hypocritical for you to sit here and say and be, you know, screaming from the rooftops about right to privacy and civil rights when you don't respect women, and you don't respect women who've been raped, women who are victims of sexual abuse. And you want me, a victim of rape, a survivor of rape, to go into a locker room and be forced to undress in front of a man?
I don't even know how we got there, because I tried to make it clear how many civil rights, it doesn't just boil down to one conversation, but I can see that somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, 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 so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or
Do
not.
not call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I am 47 years
emails
old. I have
actually
broken more
have.
glass ceilings than you
Chairman, I
ever.
am
Order,
reclaiming my
please. Let's go.
time.
You will not do that.
Order.
I am reclaiming my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not
Okay.
in order.
All right, y'all. So listen, we got to react to what happened just yesterday between two representatives and a fight that almost broke out, quite frankly, on the House floor between Representative Nancy Mace, who I believe is representing the state of South Carolina, and Representative Jasmine Crockett, who is representing, I believe, the state of Texas. And listen, y'all, if y'all don't listen to or watch any of my videos, and even if you're not into politics, I ask you, please watch this video, because this is the most passion I'm going to ever show in any video, and this is probably the most angry that you'll see me in just about any video. I probably won't do a whole lot of yelling, but this is personal for me. And I'm at a point in time right now where I truly believe that not anybody, I don't want to speak with too much hyperbole, but I'm truly convinced that just about anybody can become a House representative and represent their state at this point in time in 2025. I really believe that. Because what I listened to in this clip, which almost led to a fight, basically led to almost a fight, it's quite foolish. It's foolishness to the umpteenth degree. All right. So without further ado, let's go and take a listen to what happened.
One thing that we could do, the very small thing that we could, is have a little bit of courage and decide that we are going to reinstitute this particular subcommittee, because unfortunately, I don't see the type of courage that the people that served back in the 60s had coming out of some of our colleagues. And so I'm asking you to do the courageous thing today and just institute a subcommittee that would make sure that we are looking out for those protections of everyone in this country, to make sure that we have real freedom, something that we all supposedly espouse to believe in. And with that, I will yield.
Now, before we listen to Nancy Mace and where things escalate, I just want to fill you all in, because I just reacted to something that Jasmine Crockett said the other day when she was doing a whole lot of word salad and things of that sort when we were talking about the California fires. And she was reacting to the pushback and all the criticism people was making of DEI. As it pertains to this, what she's talking about is a bill that is being introduced, that is trying to get passed right now, that is preventing biological males from being able to enter biological females' bathrooms, right? Which in 2025, why this is even a conversation, I don't even know. Because what I truly believe is that she's even uncomfortable with that. But I'm going to tell you all what happened. I'm going to shut up. I promise you, I'm going to play the video. What I truly believe happens is a lot of Democrats that are black people, they're only Democrats because of racial reasons, which I wouldn't even argue is a bad thing. But let me tell you what happens. What happens is they become Democrats, and those select few that decides to dip their feet into politics and become actual senators and representatives and things of that sort, and politicians, what happens is once they become a Democrat for solely racial reasons, they're just trying to make things better for black people, which once again isn't necessarily a bad thing. But what happens is they'll get over there and then they'll start to hear other things that Democrats believe and represent. And they're like, oh, other people can be women? Oh, okay. So we try to fight for trans men as well, to be able, trans women to also be able to come into women's, I don't really know how I feel about that, but I'm a Democrat, so okay, I guess that's what we represent. All right. So that means, so like whenever they ask us what a woman is, we can't say, oh, okay, so we pretend like we don't even know what a woman is now. Okay, got it. And they just follow along because they're a Democrat. That's what happens. They don't even believe the stuff that they argue. But with that, I'll yield myself, and let's see what happens.
Again, I don't know what's going on today. I find it extremely offensive. So we're talking about civil rights. I'm the former ranking member on the Civil Rights Subcommittee, something I believe in civil rights and civil liberties of all Americans. And we were talking about infringement of individual people. Also, quote, the right to privacy of individuals. Coming from a party that can't define what a woman is and won't give women the right to privacy. You all want men with penises in the bathroom with us. You want women to be forced to undress in front of men in the locker room and in dressing rooms. And it's so hypocritical for you to sit here and say and be, screaming from the rooftops about the right to privacy and civil rights when you don't respect women. And you don't respect women who've been raped. Women who are victims of sexual abuse. And you want me, a victim of rape, a survivor of rape, to go into a locker room and be forced to undress in front of a man? You have to be effing kidding me. So I don't want to hear about you talk about rights, individual rights, civil rights, because you can't find the courage from the 60s to fight for women all around America. Fight for women like me, every single woman. And as a survivor, I shouldn't have to explain to you why women have rights and why women, when we're in the bathroom, when we're in the locker room, when we're in a dressing room, why I don't feel safe when there is a man nearby. And the fact that we're going here and we're going to say all these things is the ripeness of hypocrisy on the Hill. People need to tell the truth. And if we're going to talk about the rights of individuals, we have to talk about it. Everybody has rights, including women. And at some point, men are infringing on the rights of women. We just had it today. We just had a vote about protecting women and girls in sports. And I believe it wasn't one, it was two people from the Democrat Party who voted to protect women's rights in sports today. Two. So women have the right to change and not be feared that somebody with their real perversion, someone who's confused about their gender, we have the right to feel safe in these spaces. We have the right to know that we're not going to have trans people filming us in the bathroom. How many of these trannies are taking selfies? These men are taking selfies in women's spaces, in the bathroom. It's gross. It's disgusting. So if we're going to talk about civil rights, let's talk about the rights of women in this country and how you are stripping them away every single day. And you're doing it in your legislation, you're doing it in your messaging, you're doing it on X. You're making women feel unsafe in this country. And you're making the opportunity for women and girls to be raped, to be sexually abused in this country even greater than they've ever been. So don't come over here with your attitude and talk to me about rights when you're trying to take my rights as a woman, a survivor, away. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
I don't even know how we got there because I tried to make it clear how many civil rights, it doesn't just boil down to one conversation, but I can see that somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or
Do
not.
not call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I am 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have.
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I
will.
am reclaiming my
Let's go.
time.
You will not do that.
Order.
I am reclaiming my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not
Okay.
in order.
And then I'm seeing all these black women in the comment section, or black folks in the comment section, saying, well, if it was a black woman that said what she just said, she'd be called angry and ghetto and a thug. Okay, sure. There's truth to that. And I would also agree that it was unprofessional for Nancy to say that in a professional setting like that. I 100% agree. But what's funny to me is y'all are not talking about what Jasmine Crockett is fighting for. That's what the problem is here. Let's not lose sight of that. This woman is arguing for biological men to be able to enter the spaces of women. Are you listening to what she's saying? Does that not upset you? Does that not make you angry? Does it not at the very least make you question what these people's real agenda is? Y'all focus on this superficial BS instead of the substantive part of the conversation. And what you will notice, I truly believe Jasmine Crockett has reached a level, a Kamala Harris type level, with the filibustering and the word salad. She'll talk for a long time and say absolutely nothing. She'll be the loudest in the room and say absolutely nothing. You do realize that people they're hearing what you're saying and not saying. And what I've noticed about a lot of Democrats is, because you're looking at somebody who's done this. Like, I've worked at the Capitol. I've done work with legislators. That's what I did. And what you'll find a lot of times is even Democrats will listen to another Democrat representative talk and say a whole bunch of nothing. You got the same ears I have, and you listen to that person talk for 5 minutes, and I promise they didn't say a single thing that was substantive. And you won't call it out. You won't say anything about it. You won't whisper about it. Nothing. You sat there and listened to them say a whole bunch of nothing. That's who you want representing you? This is the party that you want to represent? How are you a woman, Jasmine Crockett, and you're trying to argue that trans women are women? No, they're not. Now, I don't subscribe to calling them trannies, because that's derogatory. But we have to just call things, there are only two genders, bro. There are only two genders. If anything else, let's make a whole separate league. A league where transgenders, both trans men and trans women can compete against each other. How about we do that? But let me tell y'all what the most frustrating thing about all of this is. You know what you almost never hear about? You never hear about trans men. What do I mean? So this piece of legislation, I believe the count is like 218 to 206 or something like that. So Jasmine Crockett talking about representing what the people want. Clearly the people want this bill to be passed. So you're not representing what the people want. But you know what you almost never hear about? Trans men going into men's bathroom. Let me say it again. Biological females that feel like they're male inside, you don't see any legislation that's trying to force them into men's bathroom. You know why? Because most men wouldn't have an issue with that. You know why? Because they're a biological female. Sure, some of them may even be uncomfortable. But you know a bigger reason why I believe that is? Because there's overwhelmingly more transgender women, so biological males that are passing for female, trying to get into female bathrooms because it's safer, trying to get into female prisons if they've committed crimes and have to go to jail because it's a lot safer. It's a lot more comfy. That's really what this is about. How come we don't ever hear about trans men? How come we don't ever hear about legislation trying to force trans men into men's sports? Why? Because they would get dominated. That's why. If it was an overwhelming amount, they would get dominated. This is, and again, this is not to say that it doesn't happen. It happens. But it's overwhelmingly transgender women trying to enter female spaces that we hear about. Let me end this video with asking you all a question. Have you been into any of these bathrooms where both men and women are allowed? I went somewhere. I can't say too much. I went somewhere. I was in New Orleans at the top of the year, last year. And I went to the bathroom, and it was normal. Went to the bathroom, came out, and then I ended up going to a different side of the building and went to the bathroom. And when I entered the bathroom, I saw a non-binary sign on the door, and I was like, "Oh, that's different. Like, this is the first time I'm getting to experience this." But I didn't think too much outside of that. I took a picture of the sign, but I was like, "Okay, this is new." And I walked in the bathroom, and I saw a woman at the sink rinsing her hands off. And just naturally, I was like, you know what I'm saying? Out of respect, I was like, oh, I'm definitely in the wrong bathroom. I know I saw the sign, but I'm not doing that, bro. I don't even feel comfortable as a man. I don't want to be falsely accused of anything. No. So when I walked in the bathroom, I was like, oh, just by reflex, I was getting ready to turn around. And as I was getting ready to turn around, I saw a freaking man standing at a stall behind her, peeing in a stall. Not a bathroom stall, but like one of the whatever they're called. The things that we urinate in as men. Was turning around, zipping himself up, turning around to the sink with a woman. I was like, okay, this is a whole different, this is like a Twilight Zone. This is like a different world, bro. I'm not participating in this. I turned around and I went to a different bathroom. It's just not like, let's stop it, bro. Let's just stop it with this nonsense, because the truth is a lot of them Democrats don't even believe what they're saying, bro. They're virtue signaling, and they're trying to do this stuff to just win the people over. But in secrecy, they don't even believe this stuff. Tell me, at what point did this change? In 2015, I guarantee you things weren't like this. You mean to tell me in 2015, 10 years ago, We were arguing or trying to figure out the difference between a man and a woman, the difference between a male and a female. No, we were not. So what happened? Who decided that this was going to be a thing? Who decided we were going to start pushing this in legislation? And a bigger question is, at what point in time did all these wave of people start to believe, or decide, I believe that too. I don't know how to define a woman. And if I was to define a woman, it's anybody who says that they're a woman. You don't believe that. You don't freaking believe that. This is nonsense, bro. Y'all up in the comment section, give me your thoughts. I'd love to know what you think. I'm just sick of this. I'm over it, bro. I'm over it. Like I said, I have some progressive perspectives, but the more and more these lunatics support things like this, you're going to run more people away from your side. Just know that.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.